Hi, this is LJ Bothell from Microsoft Outlook 2013, and this video will be a second contacts related video. In this video, I'd like to show you how you can import contacts into Microsoft Outlook, and I'm going to do it using the simplest format known as a comma delineated file. Basically, you can export Gmail contacts into a comma delineated file. You can export other types of email contact lists you have that way, and you could build a contact list from scratch in Excel and then save it as a CSV which is the extension for a comma delineated file. In any case, you can bring in contacts into Outlook from external sources, and you'll find it's very useful when you go into a new job and if you add other contact email connections to your Outlook like you have with your student one here. So what I'm doing is I'm starting first in Outlook. Oh, and one note I did want to make. When you start at a company that has an Exchange account where you are brought into the company and you are integrated into that company like Group Health or Starbucks or Microsoft, when you're integrated into their server and their Exchange accounts, you will actually already have a huge list of contacts available to you in that company. But since we're doing this by connecting to an external internet email, which is new to you as a Shoreline student, you likely won't have any contacts at all. So that's one thing you can look forward to when you get hired somewhere. A whole contact list already provided for you. But this allows you to personalize with additional contacts. So right now I am in Outlook. I'm in my contacts section, and as you can see from our past demo, I have 3 contacts in here, one of which is a contact meeting group. What I'm going to do is move over to Microsoft Excel, where I've created a really simple and short list of contacts that I would like to bring into my Outlook. And what I've done is I have created a row of headers. These are the headers that are common pieces of information you would put in a contact list. A person's first name and last name, their street address, their city and state, the company they work with, the department if you know, their business phone, home phone, cell phone. You'll notice that some contacts don't have information in here, and that's all right. It can be blank. Then their email addresses, and then a notes column where I'm making notes so that once these have been imported into Outlook, I could decide in Outlook if I want to do something else, or I could just add additional notes. But right now, just looking at this, I could choose to make a friends contact list, a group specifically in Outlook, just by noting that I have 3 friends in these notes. These 4 are from Seattle Central Community College, and these 2 are from Shoreline Community College. So in Excel, you would normally have a .xlsx file, and when you are ready to export this information to Outlook, or rather, when you are ready to have it importable to Outlook from Excel, there's a slight difference. You want to go in and you want to make sure that you save as, and I'm saving this into my same folder, and you would choose in your list of different versions here, the CSV, comma delineated file. I've already done this, but I wanted you to see how this looks. So it already exists. Yes, I'm replacing it. This is something important to know. The reason you're doing this to CSV rather than Excel format is because Outlook may not be able to understand some of the interesting things you could do in a spreadsheet in Excel format. So you're basically trying to make it as simple of information, essentially dummy information with no styles, no formatting, no numerical formats or anything, so that it could just cleanly bring this information into Outlook. So I'm going to continue using this format, and then life is cool. The other thing is, you're probably wondering, how did I choose these particular headings? I just chose common ones, but what we will see when we go ahead and try to import this into Outlook is that Outlook will give us a chance to match these headings that these people's names and information is under with similar or exactly the same headings that actually exist in how Outlook is created for its contacts area. So that makes it very easy for you to bring the information into the right places. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to close my Excel. Yes, I've already saved it. Oops, sorry. No, I don't need to save it because it's already saved. Now I'm over here in Outlook, and in order to import contacts into Outlook, you'll go to your File tab. You will go to your File tab and you will go to Open and Export. That sounds kind of interesting, but in here, Open, you get the chance to import or export files and settings. So we're going to click this, and we're going to choose an action to perform. Now what I want to do is bring in email addresses. So I want to import from another program or file. Next. Comma separated values is simply another version for comma delineated format. So when we saved our Excel file as .csv, this is absolutely perfect. CSV. Next. Now, I can allow duplicates to be created. I don't have any. Or I could replace duplicates with items that are imported, or I can do not import duplicate items. I'm going to go ahead and choose this one, although I don't have any duplicates. Now I have to go find this file. Oh, that'll be fun. So I'm going to take a pause here. Okay, so I found the file that I want to import into Outlook. It is called CSV example.csv. I'm going to click it once and click OK. And this is the file that will be imported into Outlook. Do not import duplicate items. Next. Select a destination folder. Well, this information is going to be put into the Outlook data file, which we normally do not look at or worry about in our email section, but we're going to be putting it into contacts because that's where we need the information. So I'm going to click Next. The following actions will be performed. Import this into folder contacts. Okay, so now for me to make sure that the information I'm bringing in from my Excel file or my comma delineated file is consistent with the Outlook fields for the same information, the first name, the last name, the addresses, I need to map custom fields. If I don't do this, then only the fields that are exactly the same from my Excel file that are look exactly the same to the same fields in Outlook will come in, and the other ones just will be ignored. Well, I'd like to bring in as much information the first time as possible. So in this, what you're supposed to do is drag the values from the source file on the left and drop them on the appropriate destination field on the right. So we already could let's take a look in here under name. First name and first name are good. So you notice it's mapping, it's going to bring the first name over, the last name it's going to bring over, the company it's going to bring over, the department and the job title. But let's take a look at street address. Well, I'm not seeing anything popping up for business address or home address or other address. Notice nothing is being brought over. So I'm going to, at this time, for this example, assume that these will be all for the business. And I'm going to drag this street address over to business street and see what happens. Outlook will interpret the street address that I have in my spreadsheet to go into this field in Outlook. Business city. So I'm going to grab city and drag it here. Notice how that's mapping itself. Business state. Business postal. I didn't actually put any countries in there. Now let's take a look. Business phones. Business phone. I'm going to grab BizF and drag it over here. Now I have a home phone. So what I want to do is find the home phone, drag home over to home phone, and this will map correctly. And then let's see if there's a mobile or cell phone. So did we see a mobile phone? Yes, mobile phone. So I'm going to drag cell phone over to mobile phone, and there we go. Now let's take a look and see what else I have. Email. What do we have down here for emails? Well, notice that email is already mapping to email. Finally, I want to go down and see if there's a notes section. Look at this. The notes section will be mapped. Now, let me explain just a little bit more about what mapping means. This is simply meaning that Outlook will recognize the contents that come from my imported file and put it in an appropriate section of the Outlook contact area so that I could then use it while I'm in Outlook. If I had not done this mapping, as I indicated earlier, if I had not moved, for instance, the street address over to the business street, being the first street address for a business address, then Outlook would not have known where to put this information from my file that's being imported, and therefore it would have ignored it. Well, the goal here is, as I've said, to make sure that all of the information you want to bring into Outlook will come in. So right now I've mapped the information. Now what I'm going to do is click OK and move forward to see if this is what happens. So I'm going to click OK. I've done the mapping. I'm not changing any destination. I do want this to go into my contact folders. And depending on the length of the list that you're bringing in, the file you're bringing in from Excel's CSV function, or that you're exporting from Gmail or any other email address, it may take a few minutes. Finish. Notice it's importing, and here we are. So let's take a look at one of these names in here that I've imported. Let's take a look at Mariko and see what's happened. Now when we're looking at Mariko's little contact card here in Outlook, we are seeing that I have the email correctly. There's a phone number, there's a mobile phone number, there's a company, and then the work address reads Auburn, Washington. Whoa, what's going on there? Why isn't there a street address? Let's see if there's a reason. Go down and look at the address. Well, what I could tell you is I recall when I actually had my Outlook file open, I had not created street addresses for these folks, which is why there's no street address. The only addresses I did create for them was the city and the state and then a zip code. And the zip code's not appearing here because that would be in a different field. It's just not showing up on the basic card. But I can go in here and I can add more information, such as a birth date. So if I were to come down here and say Mariko's birth date was December 18th, 1975. I'm just making up a date there. Save. I can amend the card and add more information. But as you can see, I've got all sorts of good information in here now. I've got several contacts that I wanted. And I can go ahead and take a look at notes. So take a look at the notes for Ray here. He is at Shoreline Community College Business Technology. Robin, her notes would be Seattle Central Community College. I hope this was helpful to you, so thank you very much.